do you get in any way animated, uptight into it when you watch Palace these days because they are your club?
Not really, no.
Not really?
No, I did my 10 years, and I think more often than not, once you've owned a football club, it takes an element of your love and affection away from it.
Yeah.
I'm always interested to see how they're doing, but the frustration that I have is not really as amplified as it once was when I was sat there writing checks out to be frustrated.
Well, there's an interesting text this morning. I kind of side with it because I thought, if that's the best Palace can do...
What is the point of Crystal Palace?
Jim, can you ask Simon, what is the point of Crystal Palace? They never do anything in the league. They never take the cup seriously because they always rotate. They're the most pointless club in England,
I guess
says
so.
Ryan.
I imagine Nottingham Forest fans that spent 24 years trying to get in the Premier League must have had that feeling. Sheffield Wednesday fans that were once a big club in the Premier League that got to two FA Cup final, League Cup final in the same season must enjoy sitting bottom of the Championship. What is the point of those clubs? What is the point of Derby County? What is the point of Reading?
No, never mind that. Let's specifically talk about Palace. Why is it they seemingly always seem to be treading water?
What, staying in the Premier League? Being amongst the 20 elite clubs in the biggest league in world football.
Yeah.
Consistently is treading water. Depends how you want to characterise it. Look, could they kick on?
Brighton don't tread water.
Brighton are doing very well for a moment in time. This is a moment in time. Crystal Palace a few years ago got to an FA Cup final where they got in the top 10 in the league.
Yeah,
but let's have it right. If we want to characterise it properly, let's see how Brighton do in 5 years' time. If Brighton are still doing what they're doing now, fabulous.
I think we've deviated from the point on Palace, which is they've played a weakened team at Man United. Now, the weakened team should still perform better than it did.
There you go.
It was a poor performance, and in some ways, probably makes Roy's life moving forward very easy when the knocks come on the door now about not playing and all that. And if you don't give them that opportunity, then Palace aren't fortunate enough to be in Europe and have lots of games where they can rotate players and see how they do. So the League Cup is the lesser of the cup competitions where he can make a few changes and see if a few of them have got something about them to push the other lads who
don't spend any money, do they? I mean,
no,
comparatively speaking,
but they're not the only club who have most mid.
Neither do Brighton.
We can't keep comparing to Brighton.
Again, this is the current vote.
You can actually.
Well, you can for the time being, and it's a salient example, and you're right to do so. But in perpetuity, Palace have been in the Premier League for 10, 11 years. Brighton have been there for 4 or 5 now, doing remarkably well. Right now, they've got the zeitgeist. They're recruiting players, like we said the other day. They turn £4.5 million players into £100 million players, and the other team that gets them turns a £100 million player back into a £4.5 million.
I'll tell you where I'm at on it.
Currently, like it was Southampton, could be done. It could be done for Southampton to produce the best academy that had players. And in the end, you keep selling your players. Nothing lasts forever. But right now, when that coach goes, and when the recruitment criteria, it can turn as quickly as it came, and all of a sudden,
but we're not at that point.
The League Cup is always been, the League Cup for a long time has been a cup where mid to lower Premier League managers have a decision to make on whether they rest and change a lot of players, or even bigger clubs like Tottenham. They went out, didn't they, to Fulham early on?
True.
And Postecoglou made a load of changes. It's always been a decision that managers have had to make early in the season on whether they're going to play a full-strength team and get through or not. I, personally, on this subject, never really understand, unless you are absolutely struggling for injuries, why you wouldn't want to put your strongest team out to gain some momentum, some confidence, and get another round of that cup in to keep the fans a bit happy, to get the players' confidence up, because normally they won't have won many games early in the season, the teams around the bottom or mid-table. So
they're playing Man United in the League Cup. Has that evaded anybody?
No, hold on. We'll get
they're not playing
I'm talking more generally here.
I know, but again, I'm going to say the word Brighton. Go there recently in the big competition when the stakes are at their highest in the Premier League.
Palace
win and blew them away.
But what have they
took
won?
them apart.
Okay, so
they're in Europe.
Fantastic. Great. Currently, they're in Europe.
Palace are treading water, and they've been around longer on the scene than Brighton
Palace
have.
Are maintaining...
There's James, the Arsenal fan. I'm fed up with clubs giving up in cups. That's exactly what.
But
Palace
they're not
did.
the only one, are they? That's my point.
No, you're right.
We're talking about right. Palace as if they've made this.
Do we get full houses at League Cup games then? Is that what? Ultimately, the League Cup at this stage in its development isn't the most attended competition.
As you would say, what's that got to do with the price of cheese?
Well, it has everything to do with the price of cheese.
Progression.
I'll tell you what it's got to do with the price of cheese. Because when the fans turn around and say, I'm fed up with teams not... Well, half the time, you don't go and watch them in a League Cup. You just complain about the results.
Yeah.
So get it right.
I'll ask you one simple one. former owner of Crystal Palace, Simon Jordan.
Yes.
Are Palace progressing?
I would say they've stabilised. And sometimes the argument, if I wanted to make an argument in
I
a
would say
different
they
guise,
did that a
if I
long
was-
time ago.
Well, if I was being hold on. The last 2 or 3 seasons,
I'm holding on, I'm here.
they've got themselves into a situation where they've averted relegation.
Well, that's why Roy came in
Now
initially.
Roy's come back in. I would suggest, Roy didn't like the performance last night, and they got Man United again on Saturday, and he didn't like the fact that they were given a footballing lesson. I would suggest that Roy's approach to that game by changing the formation was based upon his preference to stay in the Premier League. So look at the manager as well.
Well, I think he also probably believed, which I don't. As I say, I don't agree with.
Defending someone that you like.
No, I'm
Be
not.
Objective.
I don't agree. I don't agree with the protection of players this early in the season, especially when you're playing good opposition. Palace's best team last night would have given United a go.
Well, there must
There
be
you
some,
go, Danny.
But there must be
That's
some,
my point.
But there must. Come on, Dan. There must be some method to their madness. We can't all know better than the managers.
No, I've
These
just said
managers
it,
have
but
a
I've just-
reason that you say I'm not in the camp of
But I've
protecting
dealt with
players.
that. I've dealt with that at the top of the
but
show.
you haven't dealt with managing the players. You've dealt with the individual responsibility that you have to look after yourself.
I said if the manager now knows that or he's got a performance where most of those players didn't turn up, and when they knock on his door now, he hasn't got a problem.
So that
he's-
wasn't the object of the aim.
It wasn't,
I want to weed out the wheat from the chaff.
No, you don't think that.
wasn't
But a
his
manager
objective,
thinks,
was it?
I'll give these lads an opportunity because they're training hard. They all want to play. They're all, they all think they should play. I'm going to put them in. See
Yeah.
how they do.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two of them can say they held their hands
So that's
up, did it?
management, isn't it? So he's rotating people because he knows he's got to keep the squad happy.
There's two
So
sides.
there's that method
There's
to it,
two
isn't it?
sides to the argument. My point is that I think I would go the other way and go full strength,
I
especially.
agree.
But they
Danny.
don't, Danny. And
didn't
also
say
got
they
to-
do.
So
And
that's
that's
a
a good message.
Says
Fans
whom?
don't go like last night because reserve teams are played by and large. Simon is arguing against himself this morning. I've got to say you pretty much are. There's Richard, a Brighton fan. Brighton have been 7 years in the Premier, Simon, not
Very good.
4 or 5.
Do you know,
it 7
ironically, I had a row with Roy at Fulham when we played Bristol Rovers at home, and they brought 4,000 or 5,000 fans. It was their cup final. We tweaked it. We ended up drawing 2-2. We ended up having to go and play them in a replay. And Roy made a load of changes and left me, said, no, I want you ready for the weekend. We went down. I was fuming because I knew.
Fuming?
Yes, fuming.
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
not overdoing it.
No?
I was fuming.
I'll bet.
It was the year Bristol Rovers got to the quarters or the semis after they beat us. We had a good chance of getting to Wembley. The game, it would have been one more game after that. We go down to Bristol Rovers on a crappy pitch. Weather awful. Some of the lads not really capable.
Yeah.
End up getting done on pens.
Opportunity lost.
Yeah, and the reason I go the other way, and I understand completely why the managers do make changes, but the reason I'd go the other way is because when you finish your career, and I've finished mine, the moments you look back on, I won 2 League Cups, right? I remember them. They're memories of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Managers look after the here and now.
Managers look after themselves.
Players look after themselves.
But
why
that-
are you surprised managers do?
But I totally get
I'm
what you're
not.
saying, Danny. You remember those moments when you won something in the game.
Absolutely. And actually, Darren Ambrose, great example for Palace. Let's keep it relevant. He scores that wonder goal to win at Old Trafford all those years ago. They were talking about it all day on the show yesterday. They were showing it on Sky. Blah, 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 blah. It was a night that Palace, I don't know if you was you owner then?
No, I think it was the season after.
No,
Right.
you'd gone by then. They were
That's
all
why he managed
relieved.
to
Well,
score
they were
one
on
of
the
the
way
goals.
up then.
Yeah.
I signed him
Yeah.
though.
The place had turned round by
The
then.
point being is, he says everywhere he goes, Palace fans stop him about. It's memories, it's moments. And what you do is you toss it off. Sorry, wrong word. You throw it.
What a charming.
Sorry, apologies. What
Yeah.
you do is you throw it
You're
away.
amongst friends,
You
Danny.
throw the game away because you're worried about a game on Saturday that you probably won't win at Old Trafford anyway.
Right. I mean, I think the point of all this is this, Simon. Crystal Palace, I would have thought, are a club with the resources at this time,
they don't.
albeit they were at Old Trafford, but they could go deep in the Carabao
No.
Cup, but also
No.
survive in the Premier
No,
League.
what they could have done was put out a more credible performance. The balance of probability would have been they'd have gotten beaten at Manchester United as a matter of course. What we're looking at is a difference between a credible performance and a poor one. So if you're going up to Old Trafford as a Crystal Palace, more often than not, you would expect. I know that Man United are not in a rich vein of form,
No,
but still
that was the time to get them.
Still, the expectation is priced into your thinking that it's a difficult fixture. The exception will be the Darren Ambrose situation where they go and he scores a worldie and they win a game 2-1 or whatever it was in that tournament years ago. That's a long time ago. And the
Man United have
circumstances-
been struggling for confidence, right? They've been done at home
Sure.
by Brighton recently.
Palace flying, are they?
They're not flying,
Well,
but
they
if
are
you've
then.
got Eze on the pitch up against Amrabat, who's a midfielder playing at left back, and I said, tell you what, Eze, you keep getting the ball to him, see what we do. Try something.
Yeah.
You've got an England international centre half who's on top of his game now, arguably first choice for England.
Yeah.
He's playing that well. Gahey. He's on the bench. You need good defenders when you play at Man
I'm with
U.
you, Danny. I'm
So
with you.
so he's written it off, Roy.
Yeah.
And
Yes, he has.
He won't
I
say
thought
that,
you
but
were a
he
winner.
has.
Yeah.
The
But-
Palace first
but
team
what
against
are you trying to
United.
win?
United had players coming in the team, some young lads, Police Street, on that show, kids. They had a chance if they went full strength. Forget Saturday.
So what we're talking about is how deep you go into a tournament. If a manager...
Talking about momentum, confidence.
Danny
keeping
says
the
he
fans
remembers
happy.
winning the League Cup twice.
Sure,
And those were career highlights.
I understand that, and momentum is an important thing. And if you can win in tournaments and you can win in competitions, you go deeper, you carry that momentum into the league.
do, yeah.
I get all that, but clearly managers is a matter of course because it's not just Roy Hodgson. It's majority of managers
It
that
is.
are operating
It
with
is.
squads of a certain size or play a certain
25?
team. A certain
Very
depth,
different than back in the day.
Certain depth of quality, then, shall
Yeah,
we say?
yeah.
Right, so that once you get past the veneer of the first 11, you're into a situation where you're not replacing a like for like Man City do. Man City takes someone off, they put someone on equally as good.
Yeah.
Most teams can't do
Well,
that.
United have
And when
got
we
it.
go into the League Cup, it's long gone are the days, because we discussed it yesterday in detail, that the other side that can win it, like Swansea and like other teams and Birmingham that have won it at times during that period of time, you've now got Man City, Liverpool dominating that team's competition. So you know
Yeah, but Simon, look at that. There's Ian. I fully expect Sean Dyche to put out a full-strength team tomorrow night.
He won't.
I expect Everton to have a proper go because it's the Cup. Palace could have done the
He
same.
won't know.
and your issue will lie with your management.
Whose trajectory would you rather be on at this time? Crystal Palace or Brighton?
Well, that's an obvious answer, isn't it? Even the most obtuse Palace fan is going to say the trajectory.
But can you tell me what Palace's
what would I rather
trajectory
be,
is?
a Palace or Brighton fan? Palace every day.
But can you tell me
Because
what
Brighton having
Palace's
their moment of
trajectory is?
Stability. Can I tell you what Brighton's trajectory is? Eventually.
Okay.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.